weird and this is disappointing.
And people are disappointed in influencers who try to set up the crew once they stop being sponsored by the airline. Or let me tell you the story from the Emirates crew point of view. If you're new to this channel, my name is Irina. I'm an aviation enthusiast and former Emirates flight attendant of 5 years, and I'm not a follower of the same Chui channel, but I know he is quite famous, and even on one of my videos I referred to his video about Emirates Training College, but some recent event made me regret this decision. Sam Chui is one of the most famous aviation influencer with almost 4 million followers on his channel and mostly been famous for airlines reviews and been sponsored by airlines for years. Of course, you won't be able to find any public information that he was sponsored by Emirates or any other airlines, but you can just check his video on his channel and decide for yourself if you believe they were sponsored or not. And today we're gonna talk only about Emirates, and on Sam Chui's channel you can find at least 34 videos about Emirates. Most of them not only well filmed and high quality videos, but also video with an exclusive access to events and places no one else ever had. For example, he have a video about Emirates recruitment event where he had an access to the Emirates assessment day and he was allowed to film everything and even took an interview with an Emirates HR representative. This type of video is really popular within aspiring cabin crew because information is really limited, candidates are not allowed to film during the recruitment process, so this is exclusive content, and in the search result it ranks up really high. As well, he has a video about Emirates Training College and it's also really exclusive content because no one else had it. He was not only given an access to the Emirates Training College, he was also allowed to participate in the training process, to try different simulators and to take part of the cabin crew learning experience, and this is really exclusive. No one else ever had it before. Same with information being super limited, his video about training college is on top of the search result within aspiring cabin crew and future Emirates cabin crew who already got the golden call and want to know more what should they expect from the training process. So it's really beneficial for him, and obviously it's an exclusive access to super restricted area, and those two videos are not the only one. Plus there are many others, like for example Emirates flight catering, flights in first, business and economy class, inside the Emirates Service Center, the longest first class flights, and even flying a jet as an airline cadet in the Emirates Training Academy. And many more exclusive videos, free tickets, and glorifying reviews. And then his most recent video about Emirates First Class and how he disappointed in Emirates First Class and how not consistent Emirates First Class service. How did this even happen after so many fabulous reviews? Why did I say that he tried to set up the crew? And what are the standard operation procedures that he referred in his video? Let me explain, but first let's look what this disappointment video was actually about. The video title, Not What I Expect from the Emirates First Class, with a huge disappointed on the thumbnail, was posted recently, again over 250,000 views in less than 4 days. In it, he said that he booked Emirates first class ticket to the new destination Shenzhen to treat his wife and show her famous Emirates first class. He filmed everything, from the pickup, then right to the airport, check-in process, AI-generated pictures where he mentioned that they had issues with immigration and that was the reason why they had only 15 minutes left for breakfast before boarding, then Emirates first class lounge and boarding. And then he mentioned that he was so tired of all the stress on immigration that he decided not to film everything else on the flight and just enjoy the process and enjoy the flight. And accidentally, that's when things start getting worse. According to him, crew were not attentive, even with having only 2 passengers on board, him and his wife, they were not given enough attention. As well, they were super slow during the meal service. While his bed was prepared for sleep, his wife was not provided even with a mattress. As well, when he woke up around 150 minutes before landing, he was waiting for around 20 minutes for cabin crew to pass by his suite, and they never came, so he decided to ask for a snack and walk to the galley himself, where crew were just sitting and chit-chatting. He also mentioned that the crew didn't follow standard operation procedures, and in general the flight was really disappointing. The service was not up to the Emirates first class standard. He even mentioned in the video that he previously flew with Emirates on the first class and that flight was awesome, but consistency is a key and Emirates doesn't have one. That was a brief description of the video, and now let's talk what was shown, what was not, what are the actual Emirates crew standard operating procedures, and why I believe this whole video is just a setup. Before I continue with this video, I just want to mention that this video is based on publicly available information, my experience as an Emirates cabin crew member, and basically my thoughts. So you are more than welcome to agree and disagree with anything that I'm saying after. And the first thing that I want to mention is a standard operation procedures that Chui referring in his video that Emirates crew member didn't follow them. I'll talk specifically in details about the shortfall that he mentioned in his video and not following of these standard operation procedures, but first things first, let's talk about what is it and what is he referring to. I don't really like him saying standard operation procedures, as these words give them credential that he knows what is Emirates standard operation procedures for a cabin crew, and for the regular viewer it might be believable that he knows them as he's a frequent flyer. He filmed those background videos, he was provided by Emirates a lot of information, he even been to Emirates training college, step on the shoe of an Emirates cabin crew, so he must be aware of those procedures. Emirates kind of have two types of manuals, which is Emirates training manual and Emirates service guide. So those shortfalls that here referring to are in the Emirates service guide, but not in the Emirates training manual. And Emirates training manual actually have all the standard operation procedures and emergency operating procedures, and you need to know this huge book by heart to get your Emirates cabin crew license. And every year you need to pass your recurrent exams to prove that you know all the information in the book if you want to fly as an Emirates flight attendant. So that training manual is basically about safety, but he doesn't know Emirates standard operating procedures. They are not the same as a service sequence, and even as a frequent flyer, you think that something is wrong, it doesn't mean that Emirates crew doesn't follow those procedures, doesn't follow the sequence, because there are many updates from the company to keep up with the business, to improve it. So whatever is standard for today doesn't mean standard for tomorrow. That was just a short explanation that standard operation procedures doesn't mean service sequence. Now let's move to the case itself. And first thing we're gonna discuss is not attentive crew. So that might be a surprise for you, but Emirates have actually a procedure of handling influencers on board. For you to understand, the Emirates provide its crew with the passenger information before the flight. The purser, the main cabin crew on board, and cabin supervisor get whole information about the special category passengers before the flight, and it's not only influencer but all people who require special attention, like wheelchair passenger, honeymoon couples, VIP, gold, platinum members, royal families, etc. And of course, if influencer informed the company in advance about the filming, the company will let its crew know about it. I once had a Turkish influencer filming on my flight, and in addition to the regular briefing that Emirates crew has before each and every flight, we also had Imagine uniform representative who came to check that we look immaculate and to choose which crew will be serving in the area where this journalist was seated. Of course, that's for the cases where crew know about film it in advance, but in any other cases, company still will let crew know that influencers are traveling on this flight and they might be filming, so they are aware. I'm telling this because there is a high chance that crew already knew that Sam was traveling on this flight and they could be aware that he could be filming them. But he booked those tickets privately, so let's imagine that crew didn't know about it. To reach the first class, you need to work for at least 7-8 years to be upgraded to the business class first, and then the first class. That means that you should have a clean profile for the duration of these years. No complaints, no absence, no high sickness history. So 99% of the first class crew are extremely professional. Plus purser, the main cabin crew on board, also work in a first class cabin, and to become a purser you need to be economy, business class, first class supervisor first and pass really strict exams to reach that position, which means 12 plus years of unproblematic service. Sam mentioned in his video that there were only 2 passengers on board, him and his wife, and even without taking into consideration that he is influencer, so let's imagine that crew don't know that he is influencer, he's just regular first class passenger, obviously the whole attention of the crew will be on those 2 passengers. And they had plenty of times to do everything by the book. All the story of an attentive, discouraged crew are based on Sam Chui words, and we have no real footage of the shortfalls. He wasn't filming during the flight, but he still filmed some footages of the meal service for his Instagram story, and by those short videos you can actually see the setup, preparation and attention to detail that were missing according to his words. He also showed a picture of him and his wife during the meal service on the middle seat, and according to his words, their original seats are 1 Alpha and 1 Bravo, which are the window seats on the left hand side. So the picture already showed that crew went above the regular standard procedures and allowed them to use the whole first class and not just allocated seats. No, it's not the part of the standard service sequence to allow passenger to use all the suites within the cabin, but usually crew are really attentive, and if it's a not full flight, they allowed first class passenger to use other suites for meal service or to store their personal items. So I can say that it's not attentive. He also mentioned that crew set up his bed while he was having a dinner, so they relocate them to the middle seats and they serve him a dinner and prepare his bed while serving them the dinner, which I also can say that it's quite attentive. And now let's talk about the service. He mentioned that the service was super slow and not up to the first class standards, but if you could see by the video, it was not just a regular dinner, it was a fine dining experience, and that's what actually Emirates wants from its first class crew. They don't want just to provide you with a meal, they want to provide you with experience. And can you tell me any 5-star fine dining restaurant with the speed of a fast food service? So according to the Emirates First Class Service Guide, you need to heat up that meal for a specific period of time, and obviously there are different times for soup, bread, meat, fish, and even your plate should be heated up, so obviously it takes a bit of time. You also need to remember that the aircraft is not a restaurant on ground, and cabin crew are not just waiters who deliver your food, they also prepare your food, they plate your food, and they're responsible for your safety on board the aircraft, so any unforeseen circumstances may delay your service. For example, they might be seated on the jump seat during the turbulence, and it will affect your service and it will delay it slightly. Even medical situation could delay your service. For example, if one of the first class crew is a language speaker for that passenger who required the medical attention and she's or he is the only language speaker of that language that day, obviously that crew will be removed from the service dining experience to the medical case, and a lot of the medical cases required attention of the purser. So 2 crew from first class could be removed from the first class to attend that medical case. There were just 2 examples what could happen, and that's actually part of that Emirates training manual with standard operating procedures and emergency operating procedures, which Sam Chui referred to in his video, and he doesn't have a clue of how those procedures actually work. He knows just about how the service flow should go. It doesn't mean that it's happened on board that flight. It's just an explanation of what kind of situation could delay your service on board the aircraft, even first class service. And what is weird for me that he never even once in his video mentioned the call bell button, that he ever asked the crew to speed up the service or to explain why they have delay in the service. And I believe that crew would have a reasonable explanation why they can't deliver the beef 5 minutes after the appetizer, because that beef needed to be heated up, or if they have medical situation on board, whatever. You could just ask and crew would give you an explanation. Then to the part when he woke up 1 hour and 15 minutes before landing and was waiting for cabin crew for 20 minutes. He also never mentioned that he pressed the call bell button. He was just patiently waiting for cabin crew to pass by to ask for a snack. There is actually information about how often cabin crew should check the cabin, check the passenger, offer refreshment, check the cleanliness of the toilets in that service manual, and those information are based on his word, and maybe a crew just checked the cabin before he woke up. And also because most of the people will pay for privacy in the first class, Emirates doesn't encourage crew to pass through the first class suites often. That's why purser could even ask the economy or business class crew to call through the interphone if they need purser and not to come in person to the first class to reduce noise in the first class cabin. And he mentioned that he asked his crew to set up his beds, so they obviously thought that he's sleeping, and most probably they just didn't want to increase the noise in the cabin. So when that crew never arrived, he decided to ask for the snack in the galley, and then he mentioned the chit-chatting in the galley. And this part of the video is the most inhuman part for me. That Dubai-Shenzhen flight is around 7-8 hours, and for the crew it's not just 7-hour duty. Crew reports 2 hours before the flight, and crew also have post-flight duties, so it could be up to 11 hours a duty day for them. And just my question, are those cabin crew not human beings and they're not allowed to have break? Are they not allowed to sit down, to eat, to rest? I'm sure after his snack request, it was provided straight away, and they were not chit-chatting and heating up his meal and preparing that snack for him before landing. And even by regulation, aviation regulation, cabin crew are allowed to have break. Emirates crew do even have a crew pajamas as a part of their uniform. So yes, crew are allowed to have break on board. And when someone referring to standard operation procedures, if they use it on the video, they should know about it, that crew are allowed, and not only allowed but obliged to have rest on board. And to the final part why he was disappointed in the Emirates first class service that day is that his wife was never provided with a mattress. Yes, it's a part of the Emirates responsibilities to ask if the customer wants the mattress to be set up. So it could be declined or accepted, and I don't know what happened that day. But even if it's true and she was never offered the mattress, why not to ask for one? Considering she is a cabin crew herself, not with an Emirates, but she definitely knows what kind of service are usually provided in the first class, and her husband is a Semtur himself, who is such a frequent flyer with Emirates and who wanted to treat her with this flight, so she definitely knew that they actually provide the mattress, and even if she did not, this mattress is super visible behind the first class seat, so you can see that they do actually have it on board. So why do I think this video is set up? Why did I say at the beginning of this video that it was a setup? Once again, that's my personal opinion. You might agree or disagree with me. But even for the regular viewer, this video looks pretty strange and really suspicious. And if you check that original video, you will see a lot of negative comments there. Yes, he said in his video that he doesn't have any footage of these shortfalls because he was so tired after the stressful situation in immigration and he just wanted to relax and enjoy the flight. But he filmed everything before that. Even after the stressful situation on immigration, when they had only 15 minutes before boarding, he still managed to film Emirates first class with a full breakfast. He managed to film everything during the boarding. He even took video for his Instagram and some pictures with his wife during the flight. The only footage which is missing is the most important part of this video, actual evidence that crew were not attentive, there were no attention to details, and that they didn't check on them. Yes, even if you don't want to film this video, it's super easy to set up your camera for a couple of minutes and press the call bell button and see how quickly this call button will be answered by the crew. Because I'm sure if they would do that, this call bell button would be answered within seconds because there were only 2 people on first class that day. All attention would go to them. And I used to work in the video production before, and I have a journalist degree, and I can tell that the information that he filmed before the flight, before takeoff, is 80% of everything you need for the video. To have a complete video about this flight, they wouldn't require a lot of filming on board, a lot of filming during the flight. Then, like, he already filmed the footage for his Instagram, and he could film that in his normal camera as well, maybe a couple of time lapse, and then review from his wife's side about the flight, and that would be all that he needs to complete this video. But that specific day, in this specific flight, he decided not to do that, especially after things started getting wrong. So I'm not saying it's impossible to get a bad service even on Emirates first class. Yes, it's possible. It's super rare, but it's possible. Just saying that if you already encountered this time of situation, just film that, because without it, there is no real evidence. It's just based on your words. And the most disappointing part for me is that they're blaming the crew, how slow and unattentive they are, and that would be totally understandable from anyone not in the aviation sector, but his wife is crew herself. She knows the background of this job, she knows how hard this job is. She knows that even not with a full flight, you could have a really busy flight. It's not feasible for a passenger, but crew know that you could have a peaceful flight with just a couple of passengers on board, but it would be a help because of the number of the medical cases, or if you have any issues on the flight. As well, first class crew are not only works in the first class. If there is a light load, purser could ask those crew to help in the business and economy class to equalize the workflow in all cabins. So I totally don't understand how is it possible to say that crew are not allowed to sit down and to have a break when his wife is crew herself. There is one important thing that I forgot to mention, why I think it's set up is not only because he has 33 fabulous reviews about Emirates in the past and only these really negative, disappointed review on Emirates first class service, but also because this video was published and a couple of days after that it was hidden on his channel. so you wouldn't be able to find it. I don't know what happened. Did Emirates try to negotiate about this video, or did he just wanted to reduce the number of dislikes and negative comments under this video? I don't know, but there were a lot of negative comments under this video. So just so you know, it was hidden and not available for a short period of time, and a day after reappeared again on his channel. So that's really suspicious. While I was preparing this video, Sam Chui dropped another video about Emirates, but this time again a highly polished, overly flattering review with many details. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. So this video is actually not to blame someone, but to show support to the cabin crew community, not only Emirates cabin crew community, but crew community in general, because those people sacrifice their health and personal life to connect people around the world. And if you ever felt that your job is not important, if you ever were referred as just waiters on board the aircraft, or you just don't feel that your job is appreciated, don't let those few negatives come to put you down. Most people actually appreciate your hard work, and you know how hard this work behind the scene and how much pressure companies put on you, and you are doing your job really well. Emirates is on top 10 best airlines in the world for a reason, and you are the main reason for that. As I said before, it's up to you to agree or disagree with me. I'm happy for any opinion. If you want to express this, you're free to do that in my comment section. You can also write your experience with Emirates there. Have you ever had a bad experience with Emirates or Emirates first class, or just write your story as a cabin crew. If you like this video, I would appreciate like and maybe subscription to this channel, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!